this devotee who was really neglected by society was embraced by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he remembered Sudama's ecstasy, and Sudama was embraced by the Lord. And these lines or these words came from his heart to his mouth. So how this happened, who this devotee was, is a very interesting subject matter, which I would like to discuss this evening here in the temple. I believe that all of you are great souls for having taken up the path of Krishna consciousness, and it would be so nice if all of you would one day be embraced by the Lord like it happens in our Shastras, it's described. And I wanted to just discuss this subject matter at the beginning of our auspicious Nityananda festival. I also wanted to speak about this because I feel for us it is very important to know what could be our next steps in our spiritual life, where and how we can situate ourselves. And the best way to situate ourselves safely is by taking up the process that is given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally. When we came here from Radhadesh, I was traveling with two very nice devotees, and one of them asked me the question, how can we make Krishna more part of our life so that we actually experience a relationship through our days? And I said, well, the best way to do that is if we follow the path which Krishna has given himself, and he gave 4 powerful instructions how to do this in the Bhagavad Gita. I think you all know this. Manmana, we should think of him. Bhavaman Bhakto, we should come into the mood of serving him. We should do something for him. Have you done already something for him today, or have you only done something for yourself today? And you should ask yourself that question. You should then worship Krishna, and you should offer your obeisances to Krishna. This is how you make Krishna part of your life and become and live your life in relationship to Krishna. So I said this at that time. If you want to be more closely connected with Krishna, best is you take the path which the Lord has given. And as I was giving this answer, I said, but there's also another process which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given for the people in this age. And when my spiritual master spoke about this process, he said, this is actually the process of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He said, this is the sublime mission of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It is, so I thought I would discuss this evening, and so on. My dear devotees, you all have started a spiritual journey to ultimately meet Lord Krishna. And on this journey you should sometimes take a risk. You should do something which is just so important for you to make the next step happening for you. But you should never do something which puts your own Krishna consciousness at risk. Take a risk, but do not put your Krishna consciousness at risk. And in order to do this, you should find out, let me find out what Krishna says, what Lord Chaitanya says, and I will do that, and let me see what is happening. So this will be the subject of this lecture. It is, I think, quite interesting. No? Not so interesting. Should we talk about something else? It is a good subject. No? It's very relevant, I feel. So let us start by offering our obeisances to Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on his tour to spread love of Godhead, he actually had a very fixed program. When he was on the road, he would always chant the names of Krishna, and people would hear him chant. As he chanted, he laughed and he cried and he danced, and people became influenced by this. He was what the academics would call a charismatic preacher. So that would be, he would in fact influence a wide range of people. And then he would come in the evening or afternoon. He would arrive at a place. If it was a place where there was a nice temple, he would go immediately. He would take his bath and he would go immediately to the temple and chant in the temple, and usually the temple would accommodate him. But if it was, if Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not near a temple, he would ask for bhiksha at some brahmana's house, and the brahmana would cook for him, and he would stay at the homes of these brahmanas, and he would give them instructions. So when he sang, when he was traveling, he was like Mata Singha. He was like a lion, so powerful. When a lion travels, everyone is becoming infected by him. Usually they are afraid. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the lion of love of Godhead, the love lion, was merged in prema avesh, in ecstatic love, and he got everyone to chant Krishna's name. He would chant this kirtan. Please chant with me. Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Rakshaman Krishna 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 Pariman Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Krishna 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 And this way Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's also known as Gaura Hari, because he is the golden Hari. He has a complexion which is gold. uh, went through the lands. And he would, when people would see him, they would feel so attracted, they came close, and he would usually chant into their ears, Hari Hari! Hari Hari! And when the people heard this, they responded, Hari Hari! And while they were chanting like this, they felt this ecstatic love coming up in their hearts. They laughed and cried, and they would not leave him. They were very eager to stay with him. But after some time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would embrace them one by one and invested them with a certain spiritual potency which was not there before. And then he would bid them or request them to return home. And I think we have often heard about this when someone is embraced by Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Imagine the type of ecstasy which you feel. Imagine you meet your best friend after a long time, and he comes and he looks at you and he's full of affection for you and he embraces you. Maybe an older devotee, and you are, or the Mataji's an older Mataji, and they embrace you to the heart. You feel, oh, everything is all right now. I have my shelter, I have my connection, I'm good now. But imagine how the people must have felt when God embraced them. It's almost inconceivable for us how blissful they felt, how ecstatic they felt. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would continue on, and he would stay at a person's house. And what he did at this person's house is what he did in every house where he went. Lord Chaitanya said, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, I have described Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dealings elaborately by studying what he did. You can know how the Lord dealt with in all other places, with all other people. So I request you also that you now pay close attention. How was the interaction, the exchange, the austausch between the Lord and the people he met? Because he would tell you the same thing which he told the people. It's ein Template, wie sagt man das in Deutsch? Ein Template. Ein Probemuster, ein Musterverhalten. So, have you sometimes asked yourself, what would the Lord tell me if he would meet me today? This is what he tells you. This is why it's so important to have the Shastra. So let us study. He came to one village, and there was a Brahmana whose name was Kurma. And when he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the street, he greeted him with great respect and devotion in his heart. He invited him to his home. He requested the Lord to take a seat, and then he brought very crystal clear fresh water, and he bathed the feet of the Lord and caught the water in a bowl, and immediately drank with all his family members this huge bowl of water. They really got Charanamrita. And then he cooked various foodstuffs which were growing locally. Maybe he gave him also the jujube fruit, various types of sabjis, spinach, rice, dal, and so on. And whatever the Lord left on his plate, the Brahmana took with great eagerness and distributed to his family members, and so on. Then he could understand by just seeing the Lord and his tremendous effulgence and the way his heart and the heart of his family members were feeling with this supreme bliss. He could understand this is the Lord. And he said to the Lord, I'm so grateful that you came and put your lotus feet in my home. These lotus feet are meditated upon the Lord Brahma. By the way, this is Vedic custom. When you address someone, you don't say, I'm so happy you came. You will say, I'm so happy, Govindana, that you put your lotus feet here in this temple. You will say like this. It is more polite. Oh Krishna, you are a famous person in Hungary, but we are so honored that you put your lotus feet here in Tukulukata. We feel this is the more polite way of expressing our appreciation. This Brahmana said, I'm so happy that you put your lotus feet in my home. Because these are the feet which Lord Brahma meditates upon. Today, I feel just very, very much blessed, and I can speak on behalf of my family. This is the supreme wealth in our life. And then, maybe when the family members were in some other room, the Brahmana came confidentially to Gauranga Mahaprabhu and expressed something which was in his heart. I believe we can understand what he felt. And it's very interesting how Mahaprabhu reacted. He said, please give me your special favor. You know, I cannot tolerate the misery of material existence any longer, and I request you, take me with you. I want to leave my home now and go with you. He must have been married and have children, because he had said he had a family member, many family members who drank the Charanamrita and made the Mahaprasad. Now the Brahmana wants to leave all this behind. And do you know what Mahaprabhu said? Mahaprabhu became very intense and he said, don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy names of Krishna always, he said. And Prabhupada, he is very, very intense on this. He said, it is not advisable in this age of Kali to leave one's family suddenly, for people are not trained properly as brahmacharis and grihasta. Thus, therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised the Brahmana not to be too eager to give up family life. It would be better to remain with his family and try to become purified by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly under the direction of expert master. This is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If this principle is followed by everyone, there is no need to accept sannyas. In the next verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises everyone. He then said, you stay here. Chant always, and then do another thing. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. And he said that if you follow these two instructions, what were the two instructions again? Let us summarize. First instruction, gentle, always. Second instruction,
teach others.
Yeah. Read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and then instruct others about these subjects, and in this way become a spiritual master. And he said, if you follow this instruction, your material life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Indeed, if you follow these principles, Prabhupada says these regulative principles, he means here these things, these two things. We will again meet here, or rather, you will never lose my company. So this is, in my experience with my own spiritual master, when we met, he said like this also to me. He said, this second instruction, he said it like this: you must become a good disciple and you must become a good guru. And I thought, no way! I will not become a guru. I'm very unqualified. I mean, how come you? I'm thinking myself, why do you say like this? Look at me. You will be able to see what a personality, what kind of person. I'm a modern man. But Prabhupada must have had in mind when he said this, the instructions of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who said, you learn the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, and then you instruct others, and in this way you become a guru. I think you all know, when you are sharing Krishna consciousness with others, you understand there is a lot of mercy which comes your way, and you are empowered. Sometimes don't you feel that you say things which you think, wow, this is really good. I'm usually a little bit mediocre in my intelligence, so middle-basic intelligence, but this was a good point which I just made. You say this without any pride, because you know you have been empowered. Something comes through you. So Mahaprabhu used to say this to everyone he met. Stay where you are, stani, stani, stani. Don't try to make a big show of something. And chant always. Learn the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. Share it with others. Then you will not have any problems with your life in this world. You will be safe. You will be taken care of. This could mean, my dear devotees, that you do this. Ooh, wow! Apply the scriptures. Apply what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. I think you should make a plan like this. No, Adya, no, I'm serious. This is Mahaprabhu. Anyone can do that. Chant always, even when you do with your cooking pot, you are there. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It will be better for the preparations which you make. They will be very much pervaded with spiritual energy, because your consciousness is going directly in the food. And then you learn the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam daily. You share it with others. You meet in the airplanes, or most of you don't fly as often as I do, on the street, when you go shopping, when you go and put your gasoline in the thing. You can, and you will see, there is no material life around you. You will not be abstracted. There is no obstruction. So this was Mahaprabhu's instruction. The Lord would always stay one night, and he also stayed one night in the house of Koma Brahman. And the next morning, early after taking his bath, he started his journey. Now when he stayed at this Brahman's house, whom he forbade to travel with him, when he arrived in the evening, the news quickly spread that this amazing personality with his golden complexion, in whose association we just become so blissful, that news spread, and it spread to the edge of the village. In the edge of the village lived one a great soul who had a terrible disease, leprosy. This is a disease which is so infectious that in the times, olden times, the people who caught this disease were not allowed to stay in the village or town to not infect all the others. They had to be far away from society so that the disease would stay with them. Now, Vasudeva was a great soul. He understood, I have this disease, and he felt he had a very special realization. The disease was so bad that he had these open wounds. In the wounds, I'm sorry to say, but hopefully no one faints when they hear this, they were living worms. Have you ever had open wounds with worms in it? Just a few months ago I had open wounds, but I made sure that there would be no worms. They were all over the body, and there was things were coming out of the wounds. It was quite something. Vasudeva had worms on top of it. It must have been very painful because they ate his own flesh. But he was so compassionate that when a worm would fall out of his open wound, he would bend down, he would take that worm, and he would think, I'm the only supermarket for this worm. He will die if I don't supply him with my own flesh. And he would put the worm back into his body. This is how compassionate he was. You know, the main dharma of a Vaishnava is to be compassionate. That is to do something for the benefit of others. He was very, very enlightened, in other words. So he heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrival, and although he stayed at the edge of the village, he developed the desire to see Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And what he did is, he walked in the early morning to the house of Koma, the Brahmana. But he came a little bit too late. Gauranga Mahaprabhu had just left and started his journey. Vasudeva was grief-stricken. It had been very difficult for him to walk on with his body, which was so painful and which was so wasted away and eaten away by this disease. But still he had managed to travel to the house of Koma Brahman, and now the Lord had left. The moment he found out that the Lord had left, maybe I can imagine Koma Brahmana had gone with the Lord a little bit the way. When a friend leaves your house, you should go with a friend and go a few steps with him. At least 7. That's That's normal hospitality. So he had gone with the Lord, but then the Lord had looked at him, almost as if asking, do you remember what I told you? You cannot come with me. You must stay and do what I have instructed you. So the Brahmana went home crying, and when this leper came, Vasudev came, and saw the Brahmana crying, he already knew everything. He knew that the Lord had left, and he fainted.